Little Samson is a platformer for the NES made by Takaro and published by Taito in 1992 and a year later in Europe. It's a rather overlooked game in the NES's library, mostly because it was released late in the system's lifecycle. For me, it's one of my favorite games of my childhood. The game begins with the Prince of Darkness breaking free from his cell and starts to wreak havoc on the kingdom. The king summons 4 heroes: Little Samson, a kind-hearted young boy; Kikira, a former human girl who got turned into a dragon for being a bitch; Gum, who used to be a thief but once stole a potion from a wizard, drank it, and got turned into a rockman; and finally KO, a wizard whose potion Gam drank. He drank one of his own potions trying to get away from Gam, and got turned into a mouse. Now if that isn't a team of heroes to put the Justice League and the Avengers to shame, I don't know what is. At first you need to play a level with every individual character, but after that, and beating Kikira and needless boss fight with Samson cause she doesn't like taking orders from him. Come on, do you not see whom the game is named after? And watching the king having a roll of wank. Can you blame the guy? He's under a lot of pressure. You gain the ability to change character whenever you want while playing. That is, unless anybody apart from Samson dies, you can use that character until you get a game over or reach the next level. If you die as Samson, you just go back to the last checkpoint. So if you're never gonna die, die with Samson. The ability to change characters almost whenever is what really gives the game its unique feel, and so does every character. Samson's pretty much well-rounded altogether. He has medium amount of health, can climb out walls and ceilings, and attacks by throwing his magical bell, which does okay damage. Kikira has just a pinch less health than Samson. She can fly for short distances, and doesn't slip on ice. Her way of attacking is shooting fire from her mouth, which can be charged to make a very powerful attack. Gum is the powerhouse of the group. He has the most amount of health, and is the only one who can walk on spikes. He attacks by simply beating the shit out of everything with great success. Problem is that since he's the biggest and slowest, it's not uncommon that he takes quite a few hits while playing as him. And last, there's KO, who is the weakest health-wise, but so small and fast it makes up for it. Like Samson, he can climb on walls and ceilings, and his way of attacking is bombing. Yeah, apparently rodents are demolition experts, go figure. The gameplay itself is very simple. You jump, kill enemies, and face the boss at the end of the stage. Repeat until you beat the game. But what makes the game interesting is figuring out what character to use at what point and how. I personally use Samson and Kikira to get through the levels, then in boss fights I usually go with Gom because of his mighty fine punches. Sorry KO, you're my least favorite character. Not that he's useless, I just find him good in a select few sections. Since the game was made pretty late in the NES's lifecycle, the graphics look really good for the system, especially some of the bosses, which actually creeped me out a little bit when I was a kid. The level designs most of the time is fair, easy to figure out, but still nice and challenging. The stages feel very unique with their designs. At some point you're in an ice castle, then a volcano, or just going through a level on top of a giant enemy crab. The music on the other hand is kind of a mixed bag. None of the tracks are bad, but every character has their own theme, which plays when you're in control of that character. It's still annoying when you need to switch out characters a lot, and every time you do, their own track starts from the beginning. If you don't switch, just pause and go to menu, the track still starts out from the beginning. The game controls quite nicely, and every character feels good to play with, and if you die, it almost feels that it's your own fault. The platforming, climbing, and fighting all feels quite smooth. One interesting thing about the level is that some of them have branching paths, which don't change the ending or anything, but gives the game a little bit more replayability in the long run. The main boss of the game, the Dark Princess right-hand men, all have 2 forms of them. These guys you have to fight against always, no matter what paths you take during the levels. The first form theme is probably my favorite song of the game. It just sounds so menacingly badass and cool. The game has an easy and normal difficulty, but the final level and boss can only be accessed on normal mode. But anyway, in the end, you face off against the evil prince in a rather pathetic first form and not so pathetic second form. You beat him, but you need to escape from the castle in a Metroid-esque fashion. In the end, it looks like the prince is gonna take Samson with him, but oh, Kikira saves him and flies off with our main characters. And so the day is saved. Our heroes are alive, and yes, your majesty, now you can have your wank. Little Samson's difficulties throughout the game challenging, but not overly dickish. You can take quite a lot of punishment since you got 4 characters, and the game has unlimited continues. With all that said, I feel that this game is one of the best hidden gems that the Nintendo Entertainment System has to offer. The game went pretty unnoticed, though that is most likely since the Super Nintendo was already out on the market for quite a while at that point. But if you're a fan of classic NES games or platformers, I very much suggest giving this game a try. Though I recommend using an emulator because, oh boy. But yeah, this was my first video ever. If you have any comments, criticism, or even a game suggestion to give, post in the comments below. I'm Mile, and hopefully this won't be the last time you hear from me. Thank you so very much for watching.